every time.
But I don't understand then why you suddenly, you finally appeared. That's the thing that I'm a little bit confused on. Is that
And I did
okay?
exactly the same for the Nick show, that went okay,
Mm.
So I don't know.
Um,
Could it be because your PC got all hot?
yeah, but then why is it working now?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, you're not on your PC, are you?
No, but I wasn't on my PC to begin with. That's what I'm saying. Because my PC
Oh.
was hot, I've been doing it on here
Oh,
from the
you've been doing
beginning.
it on there.
Yeah, from the
It's
beginning.
you. It's you, my darling dolly.
Indeed. Indeed. Right.
It is.
Okay. Just give me a second. I'm going to. I just want to know where it is. So give me a second. I will be back. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I want a drink of water.
Okay. Right. We're live. Hi guys. Hi. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties. Let's
Uh,
just sort this out. Let's just see where I can plant this.
I should go and get some water.
Yeah, it's on the warm side. I just need to put this. Right, hi all. We've had a few difficulties. Just seeing if I can sort it out. See. Okay, right. Hi all. Yes, we've had a few technical difficulties. Roberta couldn't find me, and I couldn't find where she was. But we found each other now, which is always the good thing. And I've just got to remember where the camera is. And so,
Is anybody there?
welcome. Yep, we've got at least two people. Yep, Nora is saying hello. Let's see if I can stick this in here. That should. Yep, Nora has said hello. And Michael too. Michael is saying hello. Hello, Michael. How are you doing? So, welcome to the way of, a rather crazy way of, conscious mindfulness. A show about discussing spirituality and science, balancing health and well-being with mind, body and spirit, with a Taoist boggy twist this week. Tao means the way, the path, the balance. Boggy means the balancing between chaos and calmness. So we've had the chaos, and now it's in time for some little bit of calmness. So I'm just working on the ball here. I'm just working out a few little kinks, and hopefully, I should be able to do this. it should. No, it didn't work. Anyway, so good evening, Robbie.
Seafood.
How are you doing, girl? How are things apart from the craziness of? Ah, there we go. There's a title. You won't be able to see the title, but the guests, the people watching the show will see the title.
I can see it.
Right. Oh, cool. Guys, if you're watching, if you can just share it out for us as well, because we had trouble loading it up. The original link, Facebook's got this wonderful thing. If you take too long, it deletes it. So the original link was deleted because I couldn't find Robbie. But people are building up. I'm seeing people. So at least from the way of learning, which I put it on, and it's on the way of. So hopefully people are now coming about. So Robbie, let's start off. I mean, actually, this is nearly as crazy as the last show. And just two of us.
Seafood.
Indeed. So, right. So let's get on with it. So, Robbie, what is your Tao? What is the way of Roberta?
Roberta. First of all, you know what we haven't had?
Go on. Oh, you can ring my bell. You go. All right. Here we go. You have to keep the guests happy. Remember.
Oh yes.
You have to keep the guests happy. So anyway, what is your way? What is the way of Roberta?
My way, on and off for 20 years. I've been moving along my spiritual path and helping others along the way. First of all, being a Reiki master teacher in the late 1990s and early 2000 and up to 2003. And then because of other problems, say, in my life, and my husband died and grief, I had a break for a little while. And then when on the road of recovery, started working with the Ascended Masters. And my way is just to share it with other people who are interested. I love to encourage people because we're all on this path together. So those that are interested. And as you know, I just give it a little, my first book, A Safe Way to Heaven, a no-nonsense guide, with lots of information in there. And I'm writing my second book, and I'm working with the moon god Thoth, the goddess Isis, Mart, and Tara at the moment. And that's really interesting. I'm busy with that. But this evening, we thought we would, I would give my story on soul retrieval. So whenever you're ready, I shall start the story. Right, straight away?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Right now, excuse me. Through my work and with my higher self, I have witnessed our so-called life, because as most people know, it's illusionary. Most people that watch your show are very, very spiritual and quite enlightened. I've seen with my higher self that our life is in frames. And I'm going to call also this soul part an essence. It's an essence of my soul. So we know that we're more than a human personality that has a name. We are a field of consciousness that has come forth to have this lifetime experience. So when we experience trauma, soul loss can occur. Soul loss is a helpful response in that it allows our essence to remove itself from pain. However, when this happens, one has a sense that they do not feel complete. And this is what happened to me. And it was the year 2005. It was only a week after my husband's funeral. And one evening when I went to sleep, all of a sudden, I was up in a dark, starry night sky, and I was sobbing. And I was sobbing so hard and crying, "Where are you, Les? Where are you?" And I couldn't find him. And I was really broken-hearted. He died at the age of 56, and I was 53. At this time, I didn't have the knowledge and didn't realise it was a part of my soul, a soul essence that had fragmented away from me. I already had started with ill health, and this, of course, did not happen. I went down and down with my health, a further decline. So I just want to suggest, I would say to anyone who is dealing with grief, to please have counselling with a trained person and not bury it as I did. I tried to have the stiff upper lip, carry on helping people, and I ignored myself and just went further and further down. To cut a long story short, other things were happening which were very testing, and I understand now it's because I had a distrust in people, and with the law of attraction, I understand it all, why this came forward. 2008, I was chronically ill in bed with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, but on top of this soul essence that had removed itself. One morning, and it was just before, I was having 2 Reiki master healers that I know come to give me healing 2 or 3 times a week when they could manage it. I heard my higher self say to me, "Roberta, you need soul retrieval and you will not get well without it." So I'm thinking, oh, right. Okay. So when, I can say their names because they're in the book, Karen and Mike, when they came, I said, would you be able to carry out soul retrieval? And I told them the story. And they said, "I'm afraid not. We don't know how to do that, but we'll try and find a book for you." So the next time they came, which was 2 days later, they brought a book. And I was reading through it, and it said, if you really have been compromised, if you're chronically ill, you won't be able to do it yourself. You will need help. So to cut a long story short again, my partner found a number in the back of the book, and I'm going to get the name for you. I wrote it down somewhere. And in the back of the book, it said, and I'll put it on later, the youngdrungbond.com, and they are a Buddhist group. He found the number that do soul retrieval, and he rang them. And a beautiful lady came. She was, at this time I was 56, she'd be about, I don't know, 36, 37. And at first I thought, I'm not so sure. She didn't fill me with confidence at first, but then she could see everything psychically, and her intuition was fantastic. And she said to me, "Roberta, don't take any notice of this, flesh and bone. I am more than that, and I can help you." And just as she spoke to me, I could feel the energy, and I knew I was onto a good thing, because I've tried to make this a little bit short. I'd had a few that said they could do it, and I'm afraid they couldn't. Maybe they mean well, but they couldn't do it. So my partner was he wasn't my partner then, he was just a friend. A friend was with me, Richard, and he was sat on the bed with me. She sat on the bedroom floor, and she started to do prayers, but she was singing these prayers. And we were in floods of tears. We were just crying because we could feel the energy. And my heart, I actually felt my heart jump in my chest. It was that powerful. And the tears were flowing. I knew I was going to be okay. Thank goodness. Because what also had happened at this time, when sometimes we are fragmented, the aura has sort of a split in it, and psychic attack was happening. And at night time, I was having psychic attack, and it was an awful time. So she said to me, "All is going to be well." She said, "I'm going to go." She said, "I can see everything." And she said, "This happens a lot." She said, "People don't understand. It happens a lot." She said, "When I'm finished here," because I gave her a letter with things that had happened to take back to the Lama, because he was away at this time. And she said, "After I've being with you, I'm going to London to help this other guy. She'd come from Carlisle. She didn't want any payment, but I gave a donation to the Bond group. So I knew I was onto a good thing because she could see everything. And later on, she rang my partner. She said, I've spoke to the Lama. I've rung him. I read the letter to him, and he's going to do special prayers for you. She says, you're very, very honoured, she said. He's going to do special prayers. And the other Buddhists at the group, she said, they're going to join in, and everything will be fine. We will sort this, the soul retrieval out. And it was marvellous. She did. And that night, what happened was, again, the first night after her visit, there was psychic attack again. But she came spiritually. This lady came. I knew it was her. And she was helping me. She was sorting it out. Amazing woman. And I spoke to her on the phone, and she said, not to worry, it shouldn't happen again. You're under the Lama's protection now. And it all stopped. And I actually had lost more than just a young Roberta at the age of 20, that soul essence that was crying for her husband. I had lost other parts. I had been a Native American Indian. There was the wolves. There was the eagle that came back. And I saw everything return to me. And it was just an amazing time. And since working with the Ascended Masters, Ascended Master Hilarion said to me, this does happen a lot. There are people, I'm afraid, that are on medication that are telling people that this is happening. They are having psychic attack, that they have soul parts missing, and they're not believed because they don't understand. The medical profession doesn't understand. No. And it's sad. And I would like to get that message out. I don't want to worry people, but the person usually has a feeling they know they have a soul essence missing.
Yeah. You feel more. They feel lost. They feel
yes.
You listen to the words. If somebody will say, "I feel lost. I feel disconnected. I feel like I've lost part of me." They are all the words. Or it's a metaphor. You can say it's a metaphor, but they're telling you exactly what happens. But because in the West, we lost that connection. Most Western people do not acknowledge the spiritual side. So therefore, those words are telling you, you're describing a certain thing. Those words, when somebody's saying, I feel lost, I feel separate, I feel like part of me is missing.
And I feel like something's trying to get me. Sorry, Sifu.
No, not at all. That's the whole point of this show, interjection. But yes, it is the whole point. And this can it doesn't always happen. Doesn't always have to happen with a loss of relationship, but it can happen, as in like a beloved uncle or family member dies, and you can lose that connection because part of you is knocked out of itself, because the whole point of the soul, or I prefer the word consciousness to soul, because soul is comes from the Latin word of breath or body, but your consciousness can't fit in this flesh. That's part of your glow. That's part of we talk about the other chakras and the higher selves. It's because what you're, it's like trying to put 52 people in a mini. Your body is the mini, and or if you see like the great pictures of of India, and you get the coaches, and there's about 30 people on top of the coach, or the trains, and there's people. It's because your consciousness is far bigger than people realise, and therefore that's why a lot of you is outside the body, because anyway because the body is not big enough, it's not expanded enough for you to be able to connect. And then when they've said, like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, they talk about these people and they say, oh, you can see them from miles away. There's a glow. That glow is the connection of their soul, their consciousness. They are more integrated with themselves. They are more connected to them. So
Definitely.
does that mean, you know?
Oh yes, wonderful, spot on, Seafood. Great. And yes, it can happen with any trauma, and even to young people. Any trauma at all. Yeah. It can happen.
Yeah.
You can lose parts of your soul lessons. But it was wonderful seeing them returning. And what happened was, although Karen and Mike weren't in charge of the soul retrieval, their healing was paramount too, because this actually used to be my healing room. And as they both were working on me, Karen read up about it, and she said, what I want you to do, Roberta, is imagine there are 5 bright stars in the sky, and one by one we're going to bring them back into your heart center. So she looked it up, and what with the Buddhists, and she never spoke to them, and neither did her partner. They didn't speak to the Buddhists, but they read the book that they had their name in the back. So she said, I want you to imagine these. And I didn't realize at that time which parts were missing. It was as she was bringing the stars back. And they were wonderful. They were my Reiki master teachers in the 90s. So I was so pleased I got hold of them, because they're from the old tradition. Absolutely fantastic. And one by one they returned. And I remember the American Indian. I was deep in a meditative state as they were working on me. And I remember seeing the American Indian holding his left arm up and going like that, and then the eagle coming and blending back with me. And the wolf, well, it's not just the wolf, it was a wolf in the pack, but it was, if you like, one of the wolves. I was resting in my bed, and my partner, well, he wasn't my partner then, my friend, thank goodness, he was a really good friend. He was making dinner, and I was lying there quietly, and as much as I could, I meditated, and I saw the wolf sat on my bed. He'd returned, and it's just such a joyous time to see these soul essence, if you like, soul parts coming back again. Lovely.
Yeah,
super.
Yeah, because we all have guides, we all have connections. Because I mean, certain faiths talk about it. You are never alone. In Christianity, they talk about that God is always walking with you. But if you look back and there's only one set of footprints, that's because he's carrying you. But the whole, and even in the ancient traditions, it's the same thing, that you're always with a soul pack, and that soul pack either can reincarnate with you, so the people that you meet up with in your life are part of your. So, because we talk about twin flames or not, or in our society the twin flame, but there's actually this. This flame pack, or it's not just about the twin, your other half, but there's actually a group of other consciousness, other souls. In the Eastern Chinese tradition, it's very much about the ancestors that you're part of that ancestry. And when you die, they very much talk about returning the ancestors back to their home. Otherwise, they become wandering souls, lost souls, which is, in the Chinese tradition, that's what ghosts are. They've not been returned back to their ancestors, their ancestors layer. But you get that same thing in yourself. Any great shock or trauma, I think, I'm trying to think of, I know there's 1-2 movies that sort of showed this. I think the one I can think of most, Patrick Swayze Ghost, when he, he see him get shot, and he sort of runs and chases after him, and he realizes his body's on the floor and he's standing up. Well, that I've seen it in the past is like when you say you lose some of your consciousness, some of your soul. It does that. It can, like a jolt, some emotional jolt or a physical jolt could literally shock parts of your body out. And when you're not connected to it, that you don't realize, it's like having balloons. And you let go of a balloon, and if you don't hold that, you blow it away. and that's what people's consciousness can be. You know, it's part of this. It can drift off, and there are techniques. You know, the Tibetans with Tibetan Buddhism. It's right, and also what not everybody understands is that you mentioned it as well. Is that in Tibetan Buddhism and in the Buddhist culture, and even to a degree in the Taoist culture in China, they sing. They sing prayer. Prayer is sung because tones create different vibrations. But even their language, you know, the Chinese language, the Tibetan language, is a sung language. It has tonage. So you say it with a certain tone, and you change the word, which we don't really have in our language. But that's what creates the magic. That's what creates part of the essence of that actual language. But anyway,
what you might like, or the ladies might like, if I can add this little bit. I was quite distraught at the time my husband had died, because we'd had a separation and we just got back together to sort it out. And we'd just been on a cruise, and then he had to go back to Singapore, and he rang me and he said, I'm in hospital, I'm not well. And can you come out? I feel it's serious. So actually, my son and I and my son's girlfriend at the time, we flew out to Singapore to be with him. And he was very ill. And to cut a long story short, it was only a month. We got him back to England, but it was all just within a month, and he died. And I never got time, and he never got time to sort things out at why we became unhappy with each other, because we'd been married 30 years, you know, so it was we hadn't sorted it out. But the good thing is, when you are quite spiritual, he would come to see, when I picked up again and I was spiritually strong and working again, he would come to see me when I was in deep meditation. When I say come to see me, we would link, and we sorted our problems out. We were able to talk about things. I remember I was going through this work with forgiving everybody and asking for forgiveness for myself. And he came one night and he said, I could not believe you actually left me. And I just said to him, you know, I forgive you and I forgive myself. The rest is up to you, because there is no one who is guilty here, and there's no one that is innocent. There is two of us, because I've sat and thought about everything. So I said, you must think about this too, because I forgive you, I forgive myself. So we either move forward or that's it. And he came back and he said, I totally understand. And we made it up. And that is good to do, because it's very freeing when you've sorted problems out. Oh, Foggy, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Testing. Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you now. Yeah.
Right.
What were you saying?
Yeah, there's a thing with future life progression, and there's a thing in certain like NLP, and the Taoists have a version of it as well. Is that if like somebody, you know, if you've, you know, all the past relationships you've had, and if you don't necessarily see that person anymore or want to see that person anymore, but you can connect with their higher selves or their future self, and you know, say, you know, to you know, oh, you know, I let go, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, love you obviously has been a universal love, but you know, the whole point of letting those connections go, I mean, some people talk about cutting the silver cord, but it's more of like, if you can melt it, you know, if you do see that as a cord connected to that person, if you can dissolve it and let it go and separate it on both sides, rather than cutting it, but by giving that person forgiveness yourself, and speaking to their future version, the version that has already forgiven you, you know, you can resolve those past issues, you know, letting go of old karma.
Oh, yes.
That's one of the...
Forgiveness works. You don't have to see the person that has transitioned to the other side. I'm going to do this with the group that I run. I'm going to do a forgiveness meditation with them. You don't have to see the people that have hurt you or the people that you've hurt, because none of us are free. We've all hurt people and we've all been hurt. But it is a wonderful thing if you can get together and sort it out, which we did. But no, you don't have to be with a person. So that will make people relax. You don't have to see them.
That's good. That's good indeed. Right. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of on the spot. If it lets me. Yes, it does. Right. So we haven't quite finished yet, but I want to put it on the screen so people can see it. What is your website?
I don't have a website.
You don't have a website. Do you have any way of contacting you, or? It's
my Facebook. It's my Facebook page, which well, you're friends with me on my Robbie page, aren't you?
I am, but I want to put it on the screen, and I can't remember what's your Facebook page or your Facebook name.
Robbie Gosden.
Right, Robbie. Right. Have you not? Okay, cool. Right, Gosden.
And I've got a group page.
Yeah, that's what what's the group page name?
Right. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. But if you just put let there be peace on earth, it should come up.
Okay, right. So let me just see.
Yeah.
Oh, I've lost it. Let's see if it will, because I'm not on obviously I'm not on the normal computer because that's melted. So I'm trying to do it on the let there be peace on earth, yes?
Yeah.
Let there be peace on not on
earth. It should just come up.
Okay. So if anybody is interested in joining Robbie's group, let's see, I'll just press that, and then where is that? And then I'll activate it, and it should come up on the screen, hopefully.
Let there be peace on earth.
So there you go. So if you're interested in joining Robbie's group, there's the name of the link. Is there anything else you wanted to? Because I mean, it's been a bit of a mucked-up show, this one. Is there anything else you wanted to mention, or do you want to wrap up? It's up to you, Robbie.
Well, really, it was just about the soul retrieval, and as I say, the group. I try and. Many of them have bought my book, and then along with the book, because it has a lot of guidance within from the Ascended Masters, and from what I've been through, there's guidance of how to come through and deal with the ego mind, and there's meditation practices, all sorts of things inside the book. If they would like to join the group and join in with us, it would be lovely. As I say, just try and encourage others to come through on their spiritual path. As I said, the second book, it's working where I've been doing multidimensional work. The second book also is interdimensional work, which has really surprised me. Learning is all the time, as you know, Steve, as we go forward, we're learning all the time. And what I've seen is the more I learn, the more I feel, let's not take ourselves too serious.
Yeah,
and I like it. And have fun and just enjoy life. Yeah, that's really it.
I mean, I've always, one of the many Taoist philosophies, there I go, ringing my bell again. One of the many Taoist philosophies, it's all about the empty cup, and the empty bowl, and it's that you're there's always more knowledge, and you absorb that knowledge and you absorb more. The beginner mind is one of the sayings, the translation, and it's very much about that. Is that there's always stuff to learn. I mean,
Mm.
on my path, I'm trained. On one side is the training of a barefoot doctor, which is very much like a spiritual scientist. And it's, and there's different techniques and different ways to, you look at a person and you diagnose them and you work them out. And then on the other side is the dragon dog shaman. And the dragon dog shaman, it will look at your energy and they will look at, they will contact your spirit guides, or, they will see it from that perspective. And they'll look at your chi, your jing, and your shen. Your chi, which is physical vitality, jing, emotional vitality, and shen, spiritual vitality. So, and the whole point is I bounce between the two. Hence the name. Boggy means a balance between the chaos and the calmness. So, like the show. But yeah, it's all about balance, and it's great to see you, moving forward. So, your book at the moment, the book that's out now, is called
A Safe Way to Heaven, a no-nonsense guide. And the second one is The Window of Your Soul, Magic and Miracles. So I'm on chapter 4. I'm wondering what's coming. We'll see.
It all sounds very cool. So, well, hopefully, we will have you on the show again when that's ready, when that book's out, and we can talk about that one.
And thank you for having me on your show, Sifu. And
it's bell ringing time. Yours is bigger than mine.
Mine is bigger than yours. Bigger than yours. You've got to have fun, haven't you, Sifu?
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, you just don't want to be full of yourself. It's not the way.
No. Taoism, that's monkey mind, ego, monkey mind.
Yeah.
I love humour too much,
Yeah.
He's never take anybody, or most importantly, never take yourself too seriously.
That's it.
And that hardly ever happens on this show. So no. I'd like to say, cool. Don't disappear. I'd like to say thank you very much to Roberta. It's been a bit of a chaotic show, but we got there in the end. I now have to share this out all over again because we got lost, because the original one got lost. But it is on the Way of Conscious Mindfulness. The link's there. I'll highlight it for because the next show isn't until next Friday, so this will be highlighted all the way for the next week. So anybody who sees it, please share it. Thank you so much, Robbie. It was great to have you back on the show again. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm looking at the camera up there because that's the camera I normally look at. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care for now. Let's just it's doing this a different way for me because it's actually on here for a change. So just wait for it to pop up. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I enjoyed the show, Robbie. It was great to hear from you again and great to talk to you. So take care, guys. Until next week. Love, chi, and shen from Robbie and myself and the Way of Conscious Mind.